What's up, TRP kids? I got bored this morning. Can you relate to that? And the way that I managed that was I decided to reach out to your parents and ask them if you guys had any questions about the Bible. I wanted to hear what they were just so I could make a video and talk about it with you. Since we can't be in the same space, I wanted to hear from you and I wanted there to be some interaction. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I know everything and like I have all the answers to all of the questions that you guys ask, but I at least wanted to respond to some of the things that you guys were thinking. So I heard back from Claire and Isaac's mom, and she said, first, Isaac has no questions, which is great. Isaac, I appreciate that. But Claire wanted to know who rolled the stone away from the tomb of Jesus. Remember on Sunday when we were talking about the resurrection and when Mary and some other women showed up to see Jesus, the stone was rolled away? She wanted to know if Jesus did that or if an angel did that. And now, this question is sort of tough. Claire, this is a really good question. And the way that I want to answer it is by first asking you a question, and everybody else can listen and participate as well. I want you to think for a second about your parents or your grandparents or two of your friends. And I want you to pretend that you're going to ask them what they thought about the movie Frozen 2. I imagine that you guys have seen Frozen 2 anywhere from 15 to 77 times in the last 4 weeks. It's a good movie. But, Claire, I know both of your parents, and I know that your dad would probably have one thought about Frozen 2, and I bet your mom has a different thought about Frozen 2, and the way that they would tell their thoughts about the movie would be so different. Now, let's tie some bows here. In the Bible, we have 4 stories of the life of Jesus, and they are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. These are called the 4 Gospels. And now they're written by 4 different people, so they have 4 different perspectives. And the way that they tell the story, it's going to look different and sound different. They're going to have different emphases or things that they think are really important, like maybe your dad really likes the song In the Woods, and maybe your mom really likes the snowman. What's his name? Oh gosh, what's the snowman's name? I don't remember. You'll have to comment below because I forget what the snowman's name is. But they have different ideas, and these 4 authors of the stories, they thought things were different too. So when Matthew was talking about the stone being rolled away, this is what he said. He said, there was an earthquake, and an angel descended from heaven, and the angel came down specifically to roll the stone away. And when Mary and the other women were going to the tomb, the angel was sitting on the stone, which is crazy. Mark and Luke, they don't think this way. Okay, so Mark says when the women show up to the tomb, the stone had already been rolled away. And when they go inside of the tomb where they were expecting to see Jesus's body, there was a young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side. And they were scared, which makes sense. If you went into a tomb and saw some guy in a white robe, that would be kind of creepy. Luke, the way that he tells the story is the women, they show up, and again, the stone was already rolled away. We don't know who did it or when. And they were so perplexed, it says. This is a weird word where it's like they were confused. They had a lot of questions. And while they were perplexed, Luke says, suddenly 2 men in dazzling clothes stood beside them. So here we have an angel in Matthew sitting on the stone outside of the tomb, and in Mark we have one young man wearing a white robe inside of the tomb, and in Luke we have 2 men in dazzling clothes that were with the women, and in the book of John we have Mary showing up at the tomb and seeing that the stone had been rolled away, and she's crying and she's weeping and she's so sad, and then two angels show up and say, "It's okay." And then Mary actually sees Jesus in the garden, but she doesn't even know it's him. So we have these 4 books, and they all tell the story in really different ways. They have different perspectives on the resurrection and on when the stone was rolled away and how. And I know that that seems confusing, but what's so cool about this, Claire, and this is really cool because nobody told me this until I was like 27 years old, okay? So I'm going to tell you now. What's so cool about this is even though these 4 stories disagree on some of the details, everybody back in the church as it was first beginning, way back 2,000 years ago, they said these stories are good. And even if they're different, they need to be in our Bible. And we need to keep telling them because each of the different perspectives are worth us listening to. Woo! That is so good. Claire, that is a great question. And you've allowed us to dig into the Bible and to see what it actually says. And then to be just excited about the differences and the different perspectives and how God has used those authors to tell us this crazy story about Jesus and how much he loves us and how not even death can stop him from loving you and your dad and your mom and your brother and all your friends and all of us. And that's what this story is all about. So kids, if you have questions about the Bible, I would love to hear them. I won't always have the answers, but I'm sure I'll have something to say. So if you want to chime in and tell one of your parents to reach out, maybe I can make a video about what is going through your head. Marshall, you're coming up next. We're talking about the disciples. The next time you guys see a video, that's what's happening. Claire, thanks for reaching out. I hope this was helpful. See you guys soon. Love you.